believe? What are you believing for this evening? We believe for it. Level Up 2022. We believe for it. Break the unbreakable. What do you believe this evening? And that's our opening question this evening. What do you believe for this evening? That's the first question. What do you believe for? Now, we had our previous sessions and we would have gone through, some of the transformational questions. And I believe, based on what we've done so far, we should be in a position to answer this question. We must be smart in the answering of this question. I'm going to explain what SMART is all about when we're finished, but I'm just going to give everybody just a few minutes to think about it. What are you believing for this evening? If you're ready and you already know what you're believing for, you can go right ahead and you can feel free to answer. What are you believing for?
Recording in progress.
Anybody ready?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I am believing and to be debt free, and I'll explain. Not having any debts hovering over me. Being it just regular bills, being comfortable. In my spending. I would love to be rich, but it may or may not happen. But that is not my the goal at this stage. But just to be comfortable in my finances. So I am believing in that, and to be debt free and to be comfortable in my spending and a flow income.
Okay, good. So you said debt free, comfortable in spending, and you said you wanted to be rich and then you took it back. What does rich look like for you? What when you say when you use the word rich, what does it look like for you?
Okay. To be able to afford what I and I say what I need, what I want, to be able
Okay,
to afford
put a
what I
fig
want.
put a
Well,
figure to it.
happy,
Put a figure to it.
happy. Don't even know.
Aha, see? There you go. There you go. All right, so I'm going to come back to you and I want you to be thinking of that figure. What figure? Because you put it on the table and then you took it back. You want to be it, but it's not really your goal. You're not, if it happens, it happens. You see what I'm saying? Think about that figure. Whatever figure you think you attach to being rich, think about that figure and we're going to come back to that. Okay, next person.
Hi, good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Hi, good night, Deidre. Thanks for coming.
No problem. I believe for me in this season that I would have a sustainable and manageable um, business, uh, home, and
a growth in my prosperity as a black woman.
Okay. So home business. Um,
No, home,
okay.
home,
Home business.
manageable and sustainable business,
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
and growth in prosperity.
Growth in prosperity. Okay. Very good. All right. Again, um, growth and prosperity. What does that actually look like to you, Deidre? Can you put a figure to it?
I'm looking at a figure like um turning over at least $5,000, $5,000 to $10,000 per year.
5,000 to 10,000 a year?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Good. All right, so the question this evening, what are you believing for? Right? The opening song was believe for it. So what are you believing for? What are you believing for? Next person?
Hello.
Hi, yes. Good evening,
Hi.
Apostle.
Good evening. Wow. Are you talking about what you're believing for this year or in general?
Well, it could be in general, and then we can break it out into time.
Okay. Well, I am believing for financial stability and the freedom to travel because I love to do missionary work and that the freedom that financial liberty could offer for me to travel and do my missionary work, and also to for this year to really start up business, two businesses that that will be flowing everything in place that that I know that will definitely bring back some revenue for me. Um, yeah, and I believe in that for the rest of my life. That and starting businesses, in the years to come. But to be just financially stable, where I won't have to worry, where I know that when I'm called to a country in Africa or a country around the world, I can get up and just go. Oh,
Okay.
like a jet plane too.
Nice,
All
nice,
right.
nice, nice. All right. Next.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, please. What are you looking forward to over on holiday? As the young lady said before, freedom to travel.
Freedom to travel.
Yes, because I was looking for Canada 2 years ago before COVID,
Mm-hmm.
so it's on the head, but I'm still hoping that that will come to pass, hopefully this year too.
Okay.
That is free from vaccine, whatever. I'm hoping that that will happen.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Right, and then an influx of income.
Influx
I
of
am, yeah,
influx of income. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I am pretty, what was it, content,
Mm-hmm.
but there's nothing wrong with having more,
Okay.
you know. So, the other person need help and everything. I'm not a spend of money, but some more will be good. And I'm thinking of starting this as well. I'm looking at certain things. I have it in mind, but I tell myself, you have it in mind, you have it focused, don't lose it. Just work for it.
Okay, good.
Yes, and to own my
And to
purchase homes that I'm currently living in.
Purchase house.
This one, yes.
All right, I like it.
Yes.
I like it. We're doing it. We're doing it. And I want, as we talk, I want everybody to really listen to each other. Pay attention to what the other person is saying, because we're not alone. We're not alone. I believe that we are here, we're brought together in this space, in this community, so that we can help each other, so that we can hold each other accountable to what we want to achieve. So as you hear somebody saying something, get familiar with the name and be that person's accountability partner. Remind them that this is what they want to achieve. Ask their permission to hold them accountable to it. All right? I like it. I like what I'm hearing, and this is what this program is about. This is not a talk show. For those of you who know me know, if I say it, I'm going to do it. So I want that as we speak, we understand that this is the beginning stage. Everything that we see, everything that we touch, everything that we enjoy at this present moment started with a spoken word. So as we speak the things that we're believing for this evening, understand that this is the beginning. This is where it starts. Though we don't see it yet, it is actually it is already there, because we know that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So don't take for granted the unseen stage. Don't take for granted what we are saying here. Don't take it too slight that you think, oh well, we're just talking. No, that's not what we're doing. That's not this program. That's not this program. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. This is the genesis of where these things will. When we see it when we're able to see it, when we're able to touch it, understand that it started with the verbal words. It started with the spoken word. Everything that we're saying this evening is the beginning of the manifestation of these things. Next person.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, well, I should ask you to tell the others what I'm hoping for, what I'm looking for, because I still hoping for the same thing. I've had large houses, I had small houses, I had cars, I had everything. I'm looking for a small house, 2 bedrooms, large deck. Uh, uh, each bedroom must have their own bathroom, and off the deck would have a bathroom, a complete bathroom on one side, and the other side I would have like a small kitchenette, and lounge service right outside. No partying, no entertaining, nothing like that inside the house. I think I told you this before. And that is a vivid picture in my mind. Every morning I wake up, I see that. I walk it, I talk it, I feel it. I had the young lady said to me, gee, just yesterday, for an older man, you sure work hard. And I said, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't womanize, I don't stay out late at night. What else to do? Work hard. I'm trying to accomplish the goal. Don't you? No, I'm ready for someone to take care of me. I said, girl, I remember one thing that my mom and dad told me. All right, a child that had a child.
Mother God, Father God, bless the child that has his own.
Bless the child that has his own, and I never forgot that. Never forgot that. And I remember when I was 12 years old, I had my own upholstery business. I made more money than my mother's father around Christmas time, so I knew it can be done. It is possible. I've done all things and give it away, but now I'm doing it for myself, And I think about it all day. Said, you gotta know what you want, taste it, You see it, you feel it. You lay on the bed. You know what size bedroom. I know what size bedrooms I'm gonna have, and all of that. So that is my goal. And the only thing that will prevent me from obtaining that is the Lord if my life is taken before that time. So that's me. You ask me next week or the week after, and I'll tell you the same thing.
Amen.
That's my goal.
Amen.
All right? I don't want anything too big, too nice sized bedrooms. Bedrooms gotta be like 20 by 20. Bathroom, everything. Large porch, covered porch, and there are gonna be cooking quarters outside the porch, on the porch, and a bathroom way on the other side, fully decked out, clean. Everything you want is in there because it's really entertained. You don't want to go to your bedrooms. I want you to go over there where you can have all your comforts and stuff. I know. So that's my goal.
I like
That's
it.
what I'm looking for. That's what I go to sleep for. All right. Thank you.
Your retirement home.
Absolutely. Must have a little piece of land that I can plant some potato slip and some corn and some things like that. You know? Yeah. That's my goal. That's my goal.
Okay, nice.
That's all I want. Yeah.
Okay, it's looking good. It's looking good. Next person.
I don't mind asking the last speaker for a ride on her jet.
Definitely. That's a jet. We all traveling on that jet.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't say jet and think that is impossible.
Miracle Airlines, man. We traveling on that.
No, that's her own jet. That's her own jet. She just
I
called
know that is all possible.
That's
Yes.
the
Yes.
name of her airlines, Miracle Airlines, Miracle Travel or something. That's the name of it, man.
Yes, you will.
She can do it. She can do it. She has the influence. She has the impact. She has the faith for it. She can do it.
Yes, absolutely.
I guarantee you that there are probably like 3 to 4 people at her right hand and left hand who can make that possible for her if she dare to ask. She can do that. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
She has a smile for it.
Yeah.
Next person. All right, don't want to leave anybody out. What are you believing for? A very important question, a serious question. What are you believing for? If you're going to say, I'm going to hold you accountable to it. So come on, spit it out. What are you believing for? At this very moment, what are you believing for? What would you like to happen? What would you like to see manifested in your life? What are you believing for? I want to share a story. I had an incident that happened here at night. I had gone outside and there was this huge crab on my driveway. Now, I don't know how it got up here. I don't know if people went crabbing, one got away or whatever, but there's this huge crab. I got afraid and I called my son and some of his friends were here and they came out. And I was looking around the yard to find something to kill this thing. So the fastest thing we could find was the garden fork. One of my son's friends took the garden fork and stuck it in the crab. Now where he stuck the fork, now understand that I'm squeamish, so all of this going down and I'm just thinking I don't want the crab to bite me. I remember Crystal came outside, she saw it. Crystal was on top of the guard wall in a flash and it's pure pandemonium, right? But now how the crab was moving about, I couldn't get back inside either. So I think Christiane was on the inside of the house and she locked all the doors and locked all of us outside. So everybody was, totally afraid of this crab. So the guy took the garden fork and jerked it into the crab. The fork went in around one of the legs. The fork went in around that area. I watched that crab take his spinsters and pull off the leg that the fork was into and crawl away with the rest of the legs. I saw that with my own two eyes. And that has never left me. What I learned that night from that crab was to never get stuck. No matter how desperate the situation is, there's something that you can do to rescue yourself. That crab took his mouth and pulled off the leg and left the leg behind and moved. I will never forget it. I actually think I have a video of it, right? And I just want to share that story. Whatever we're believing God for tonight, it is not impossible. As a matter of fact, I want to say to us tonight that there's one slight change, one slight thing that we can do to impossible to make it possible. One thing that we can do to impossible to make it possible. Does anybody know what we can do to impossible to make it possible? One thing, just one little thing that we can add to impossible to make it possible.
Believe it is possible. Yes, believing that it's possible. Say all things are possible. So if you believe that, you can make it possible.
If you believe it, you can make it possible. If you believe it, you can make it possible. Anybody else? What can we do?
I would say just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. It sounds simple, right? So is this impossible here? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Right. Is this impossible?
No, it's done.
You're right. Well, the word, if you look at it, this is the word impossible, right? Is that how you spell it?
Impossible.
Yes.
Look at one little thing.
Impossible.
Look at that one little thing. What's the word now?
I am possible.
One little change. Just an apostrophe makes a big difference. There's no space. I didn't even include the space. I am possible. So you can say it all together. And if you want, and you can come and do the second thing and put some space between you and possible. But one little change changes everything. Just that apostrophe changes the whole game. So just like that crab, there's something that we can do to make a difference in our own lives. If we put an apostrophe between the I and the M, nothing is impossible. I am possible. Okay. Anybody else wants to share? Okay. So I think I heard from almost everybody. I think I heard from almost everybody. So if the others are not ready or they don't want to participate in answering this question, we can move ahead. What are we believing for? Now, as I asked that question, I got some answers. And I said we want to be, well, no, I think there's one other person who I wanted to hear from. So I'll ask her when she comes back. But I said when we're answering the question, what am I believing for? There's a principle that we use when you're going to answer those questions. And that principle is called SMART. It's a SMART principle. And the SMART principle, you can write it down. It's an acronym, SMART. So you write all your letters vertically, SMART. And this is what you need to do when you are answering these questions. So SMART, the acronym, so the S stands for specific. When you are answering your questions, you must be specific. You must give well-defined, clear, and unambiguous answers. So you must be specific, well-defined, clear, and unambiguous. And that's why I asked the question when Kelly said rich. I asked her to tell me exactly what rich looks like. So that's what you're doing when you say specific. Be very specific about it. Don't be general, right? The next one, M, means to be measurable, with specific criteria that measure your progress towards the accomplishment of your goal. So measure it. When you say a word like rich, put a measurement to it. What do you mean? Do you want to be a millionaire? Do you want to be a billionaire? Do you want to earn $100,000? Do you want to earn $250,000? Do you want to earn $25,000? Be very measurable. The A is for achievable. You make it attainable and not impossible to achieve. So you make it achievable. And so we're going to look at how you can make your goals achievable. Then realistic. The R is for realistic, which means you want it within reach, realistic and relevant to your life purpose. What are you here for? What were you born to do? So you make what you want to do realistic, make it connect with your life purpose. And lastly, the T in SMART is timely, with a clearly defined timeline, including a starting date and a target date. The purpose is to create urgency. So we're not just going to say what we want to achieve and just leave it out there. We want to say what we want, and we want to put clear, well-defined timelines to it. So the SMART principle is what we're going to engage to achieve the things that we are believing for. So as I asked the question, what are we believing for? There are a couple of other questions that I want to ask, and we want to answer those questions this evening. And these questions are critical to our progress. So what are you believing for? I have Crystal here. I'm just going to ask Crystal to answer so that we can write your what you're believing for. What are you believing for? And then I'll answer as well, because you have to hold me accountable as well. So what are you believing for, Crystal?
Good night, everybody. I am Crystal. I am believing for my books to be published and my relationship, my marriage game to be completed and published and launched as well. And then for my ministry to be continued and to grow.
Ministry to continue and grow?
Yeah.
What does that look like? What does your ministry look like?
What does my ministry look like? Seminars, whether online or in person. Retreats, conferences, and mentorship.
So seminars, online face-to-face, retreat, conferences, and mentorship. I love it. Very good.
Yeah.
Right. So that is what we're talking about when we're talking about being specific. So the marriage game to be published and launched. Okay. So what we have to do now, like I said, we're going to use this SMART principle to add the other components to what we are believing for. So what am I believing for? I am believing for, all right, let me see. Now here I am trying to read it, right? As if I don't know it. All right, so number one, financially, I want to be earning at least $360,000 a year. I'm believing God for that. I'm believing for that. 360,000 yearly, which puts me at approximately, that's about $30,000 a month. That's the range that I want to go to, $30,000 monthly, which will put me in that $360,000 range. So that's number one. I am believing also that I will get married this year. I am thinking to close that gap this year and say yes to somebody. I will say yes to somebody or make somebody say yes to me. However it happens, it's going to happen this year. All right. And finally, to build a 500,000 active relationship and financial coaching community. The last goal I gave myself was empower 5,000. I wanted to, just as Jesus fed 5,000 people, I wanted to empower at least 5,000 women, either financially, academically, to help them to achieve the academic goals and so on, or spiritually. And I've surpassed that 5,000 mark in terms of the number of women, especially, that I have encountered and impacted, coached, taught, mentored, and so on. So the next level for me is to build a 500,000 strong community, community of women and a community of men, so that we can. I want to do relationship coaching and financial coaching. I think those are the two pillars that I want to see people improve, especially Christians. I think from what I've seen, a lot of us as believers, we have the spiritual concepts down pat. We can preach it, we can talk it, we can flow in it, we can speak prophetically, we can flow in that anointing and so on. But I want to see us come to the next level. A lot of us come to the next level where we are not just talking it, but we're living. We're living in that abundance. We're living in that settled place. When Abraham said, "The Lord has blessed me in all things," all things. I want to see a body of people who are blessed. Just as we have this community here this evening, there are 9 of us here online. I want to see a community where all 9 of us are stable in a settled place where we can come and just give to each other and say, "Here, look, I'm offering this to the world. Who wants this? This is it." And we just do that without any fear, without any sense of lack, without being afraid. Anybody could come to the table and say, "Listen, man, I just made $40,000 yesterday," and not be afraid of who's going to think that you're a bad person. How dare you come into this environment and say, "No." We're all happy and comfortable hearing that and doing that. So I want to see that. So I kind of shifted and intentionally left out the spiritual part of it, because I think a lot of times as believers we focus so much on the spiritual, and we know the what I call the Christianese, but then when we go back home we struggle. And to achieve the relationship balance and the financial balance that we ought to, we must tap into the spiritual. We must work the spiritual principles. So I think that will come without even saying it or without including it. But I want to see us come into a better place. This evening before I began this session, the Holy Spirit dropped a very serious word in my spirit, and as I was thinking about it, I said, this is really what I want for the persons who are part of this community. And it's Isaiah 43:19. Isaiah 43:19, and it says, "I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." And that is what I want for the community. For persons who feel like they're in a place where, it's a desert, it's a wilderness place, oh, nothing can happen. I am familiar with what I am accustomed to. I am accustomed eating at this level, or, I'm accustomed to this amount of money. So whatever you are accustomed to, God is saying, I'm going to do a new thing, man. And I want us to be stretched this evening to believe for that new thing. So when he says, I am going to make rivers in the wilderness and in the desert, whatever your wilderness might be, whatever your desert might be, God is saying he's going to make rivers in that desert. So wherever we are at this evening, I heard somebody say, we got some powerful things this evening. Somebody said, oh, I'm contented, but I still want more. So this evening we got to make a decision. That we understand the contentment as it relates to gratitude, but we want to go to that next place where we can say, Lord, I am grateful. I am thankful for all you've done for me and all you've given me. Lord, I look back over my life and I can see that you have a good track record. When I didn't know how it was going to be done, you did it. You provided for me without me being able to do anything, without me knowing where it was going to come from. So therefore now in this season, I'm going to believe you to even go further with you. I'm going to believe you for even greater things and not have any guilt, not have any sort of, limiting beliefs. Because sometimes I think there's a struggle, and I think it's how we've been educated within the church as well, where we think that if we want more, then we're saying we're not contented. If we want more, we're saying we're not grateful. But yet, throughout the Bible, we can see that people who love God, people who God said, this is a man after my own heart, we can see the challenge. You have the hot water challenge, the hot pepper challenge, the crate challenge. But when I go to the Bible, I see so much challenges. The greatest challenge for me is when God challenged Satan with Job. He said, listen, man, we should be show off on you, see? Have you considered my servant Job? That was the challenge. Now, I wonder if Job knew that it was a challenge. But look at Job. I mean, Job already was wealthy. Job was blessed in many things. But he lost it all. Right? He lost it all. And still, he was given back so much more. And not just given back so much more, but one of the things I like about that story is the fact that Job lost everything except his wife. And for the males who are here among us this evening, right, that's a powerful principle. Because the very wife who said, listen, curse God, and then God did not kill her. God did not take her away. Job was able to rebuild and do everything he had to do with that same wife. And even as I think about Jabez, the prayer of Jabez, Lord, enlarge my territory. Keep me from pain, right? So we know that there is nothing wrong with wanting more, having more, and believing God for more. But when I hear Abraham, I like to replay Abraham. Abraham said, the Lord has blessed me in all things. I want everybody in this community to be able to say that without apology. The Lord has blessed me in all things. Yeah? So that is what we're believing God for this evening, to go to that next level. Whatever that level is that God wants to take us to, we want to believe God to go to that level. So we don't want to have the conflicts. We want to eliminate the conflict. So if we want more, it does not mean that we are not contented. We are contented. And it is because of that contentment and that gratitude that we can believe God for more, that we can go forward into a more prosperous place. Yeah? So what are we believing God for? So the community I want to build is a different community. I want to change the trajectory of how we, think. We started off with our mindset. And then we went to knowing our numbers and so on. I want to change the trajectory of how we think and how we operate, how we behave towards each other. Even when we come to a session like this, we want to come with more energy. We want to come because we act from our beliefs. We act from our beliefs. So if we believe that we are nobody, if we believe that we are not important, if we believe that what we have to offer will not make a difference, if we believe that we are not good enough, if we believe that we don't look good enough, then we're going to operate from that place. If we believe that what we have to say is not sensible, we're going to act from that place. So this evening we want to destroy, we want to push back, we want to eliminate those things, and we want to show up differently. We want to show up differently. So that when we come into the place that God wants us to be in, we can actually seize, we can hold, we can own everything that God already has in store for us, because he said he has it for us. I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. That's what God says. He knows the plans he has for us. So we have to believe for it. We have to meet him at the plans that he has for us. So the first question was, what are you believing for? The next question is, what do you have to offer? And it's important that we answer these questions. You're not answering for me, because I have to answer it as well. You are answering for you, because it is you being authentic. It is about you being a person of integrity to yourself. Answer these questions for yourself, because in answering it, this is what is going to propel you to the next level. Okay, so what do you have to offer? That's the next question. A very simple question, but when you come to the marketplace, do you know who you are? Do you know what you have to bring to the marketplace? What does the world need that you have to offer? So I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about that. What do you have to offer? Because when you find out what your offering is, then you will be sure about how to package that and to present it to the world. Now, we take a spiritual principle like offering, giving offering and tithing and so on. We many of us would know the story of Cain and Abel, and that story of the offering. But it's a very personal experience that each of us should have. So the question is, what is your offering? What is it that you have to offer? When you are giving, how are you giving? What are you giving? Where are you giving from? Okay, what is your offering? What is it that you have to offer to the world? So when we leave this session this evening, we're going to know exactly what we're believing for. We're going to know what it is that we have to offer. Because if we expect to get something from the world, there must be an exchange. There must be an exchange. So we have to know what it is that we are offering the world, so that we can get what we need from the world. And in our offering, whatever it is that we have to offer, we have to, this question will help us to kind of recognize if what we have to offer is if it is needed, who needs it, how does it have to be presented, and so on. So this is the beginning question. What do you have to offer? So I want you to think about the experiences that you've had. Who are you? What are the experiences that you have had? Where have you been? What are the little things that you've picked up over the years? Go back to the first place that you've worked. What did you learn? What programs or courses you might have done that would have given you skills that you can now offer to somebody else? What do you have to offer? If there's somebody who can answer, that's ready to answer, let's go. Okay, anybody? What do you have to offer? What's your offering?
Sure, I was never like, and you said, what are some of your work experiences and things of that nature? I remember my mama was a seamstress, and all the girls had dolls. They bought girl dolls for all the girls. I was the only boy, so they bought me a boy doll. They used to make clothes for their dolls, and I started making clothes for my dolls. And from that, when it became 11, I said, hey, enough of that doll thing. Now I'm going out with the boys now and fight and play cricket, do things like that with men, what men are supposed to be doing. But I maintained that knowledge from making clothes for the men, the male doll. And I started making clothes for myself. Subsequently, all the guys saw my shirts and my pants, and I started making clothes for them.
Wow.
That was at a very early age. And one of my goals were to start a fashion line called shirts and skirts. And I also started to make clothes for women. But I found out at an early age that the women wasn't paid. So I did what I did. I taught my older sister how to make clothing for women. I turned over all the women clients to her, and I kept making the men clothing. That was I was 16. I was younger than that when I started. So then you look back at opportunity and what have you done. There's so many little things that you might even forget. You might have forgotten about what you've done. But all of those different types of talents that the Lord has given you. And when you talk about talents, people say, well, what talents you're talking about? I don't know. Was a mason next door to me. I would work with him for free. The first house I bought, I was able to build a step to my house. All right? So there's a lot of things that you have in you that you don't reach out and grab out of that basket or that handbag, but you have them in there. And I think that's what you're talking about. You're not talking about your college degree or where you learn that in some paid school. Or it's what you have to offer. And if you could, some of you could cook, some of you could bake, some of you could do different things, simple things that you can offer the world, and you can do better than anyone else, that people would come to you consistently to get what you offer. Now you don't think about that. So, yeah.
Okay, great. So what do you have to offer? How would you sum up what you want to offer now, what you have to offer to the world now?
Well, I'm in a different place now. Want to show people how to learn how to earn, save, and accumulate wealth. Some would listen, some wouldn't. So what? Just go on to the other person. And that's what I'm desperately doing right now.
I think you said it differently last week. You said earn, save, accumulate. Yeah. I think you probably said earn, grow, and accumulate last week. But yeah. All right, good. So we're gonna package that: earn, grow, and accumulate.
Earn, save, and accumulate wealth. Oh, the same.
All right.
Earn, save, and accumulate the same thing.
All right. I like the earn, grow, and accumulate. Because once you earn it, then the next stage is growing it, and then the next stage on top of that is the accumulation of it, the saving of it, the building up.
I have earned, save, and accumulate.
Okay, good. So, because the saving component is important. So the saving component is not your accumulation component, is it? Or you
No.
want?
You have to accumulate wealth. That's a different level.
So,
Because most people earn, but they don't save, they spend.
okay. So how about your grow? How about the growing part of it?
Well, there are different ways to accumulate wealth.
So your growing component is in the accumulation.
It's part of it, yes, but it's a different vehicle.
Okay.
Uh,
So do you want to include? Do you want to say earn, grow, save, and accumulate? Do you want to do those 4 points? So that,
well, it sounds a little redundant. You're saying to earn, save, grow, and accumulate. Those three last words.
if you're saying they're different, if they're different,
Yes.
because
In what way?
yeah, if you're because when I hear grow, when I hear growing, right?
Yes.
I'm thinking of investment instruments. I'm thinking of the things you will do with that money to cause it to grow on its own. I'm thinking
Right.
passive growth and so on, right?
Yeah. The saving part comes from the things that you're presently doing with the money that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of areas that you spend your money, you're doing the wrong things.
Okay.
So that saving part comes from showing you ways to cut costs, to save money that you're presently spending, so you can accumulate it.
Okay. Good.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm. So you can decide then the specific words you want in that, because I know we desperately need. I think we need to learn how to earn. We need to learn how to grow money. And when I talk about growing, I'm talking about planting it like a tree and allowing it to grow itself. I think we need to learn how to save, because a lot of us have the wrong concept of what saving money means. As you said, saving, you could save in terms of cutting costs, you can save in terms of creating a savings account and so on. So I think there are separate principles for that. And then the accumulation, when you look at the accumulation, I'm thinking different streams of income. I'm thinking of bringing together, as you said, when you think of accumulation, you're thinking of wealth, not just money, because some people think having money is having wealth. They're two different things. So when you talk about accumulation, I'm thinking wealth, I'm thinking houses, I'm thinking land, I'm thinking, investments, I'm thinking having streams, money working for you while you're sleeping. That's what I'm thinking when I'm thinking accumulation, creating legacy, creating things that will live long after you. As a matter of fact, I watch even simply in our health network group, in our ministry group, Gabby sits in there, and I smile at Gabby. I said, this man is such a they call himself the mighty Gabby, but he's such a mighty man. He's such an intelligent and wise man. Gabby sits in there and just writes poems, yeah? And we read the poems and we see his vigor in terms of the amount of poems he writes and the hours of the night that he would write poems and just drop them in the chat. But Gabby knows that he's creating legacy, right? At 70-something years old, Gabby knows that based on what he's created before, when he writes now, and people use what he has written or even the songs that he has sung already, Gabby knows that that's going to earn money for him. I remember there was something where some English movie had used one of his songs, and Gabby called me and said, "Cheryl, I got some money going on in Britain, girl, go and chase it down." So understanding how to transition, because he's 70-something years old. Gabby is not going to go out there now and do battleground 10. He's not at a stage in his life where he can do 10 and like the brick and mortar. He's not going and baking nothing and selling anything or doing shows and stuff like that. But he knows that he can make more money now by digitizing what he's doing. So when he writes and he puts it out there, when he creates books and stuff like that, he has to be paid because he is an entity, he is a brand, and even long after he is gone, his children will be paid from what he's doing. So I smile when I see Gabby just sitting in that chat, because he tells me when I share Help Network is the best thing that ever happened to me. This chat he produced when he did that 1,000 poems, he said share a lot of the discussions we had in that chat, he wrote those poems from those discussions. So something as simple as that, you know. He's very current on world affairs, as you can see. So he is constantly writing, constantly producing, and these are the things that, you know, we want to look at as we go through. How do we transition? How do we make it happen? Like I said, the crab had the fork in his leg, and he took his spinster and he took off that leg and he moved. He went along and he left that leg. So you might be at a stage in your life where physically you're not able to do as many things as you used to do before, or the things you used to do before you're not able to do. But it does not mean that you can't make the same or even make more, because just by taking your product and making it digital, just by taking what you are good at and putting it in writing and publishing it, you can sit down and just watch your money being made. I remember I've been at Gabby many times, and somebody come and bring money for Gabby, and Gabby said, oh, that's money from so and so, that's money from so and so, and we just say, no, they're chatting and laughing, and they said, but this bare ignorance though. I was like, but this bare ignorance. He said, we mean sure. I said, but you say, no, hey, we here talking, all to be talking, and you money coming to you while we here talking, money coming. I said, this ain't fair, you know. I mean, he would laugh, right? But it's people like that we need to learn from, and I think that, and this is why I'm so passionate about us building a community, because a lot of times we laugh at our own heroes. We pull them down. We don't see them as having any value or anything that we can learn from, right? But, you know, I remember when I talked with Gabby, people would talk about, man, he got enough children and he had enough of anything. That's nothing to do with me. That's not what I'm interested in. You know, I want to learn, how is it that your name could be mentioned in Cuba? Your name can be mentioned in Australia. Your name can be mentioned in the UK. Your name can, I want to learn, how did you, I mean, Gabby said to me, look, Cheryl, we went to the same school, you know. I said, how you mean we went to the same school? He said, I was going here, you know. I said, about tell me more. He said, listen, I went to school at St. Leonard's Boys, and we, at that time, he used to go to school in the evening. Apparently, they used to break the school in two different time periods.
Yes.
And he said he went to school at 3 o'clock. And the Commonwealth teachers, when they finished teaching at Commonwealth for 3 o'clock, they used to come down to St. Leonard's Boys and teach them at St. Leonard's Boys. So we had the same teachers, you know. Teach me. I want to hear those things. I remember when he told me the story of how he did Battleground Tank. He said, Sure, when I started Battleground, I did everything myself. He said, Sure, I like what you're doing. When I started Battleground, I did everything myself. I said, what do you mean, Gabby? He said, Sure, I used to stand up at the door and collect the money at the door. I used to wear one outfit when I stand up at the door and collect the money. He said, no, before that, he would come in and clean the place and say, boy, cheers himself. Then he collect the money at the door. Boom, 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 boom. He collect the money, people gone in and sit down, right? He gone change outfit, put on hat and thing, he MC his own show. You understand?
Yes.
Those are the things that we want to learn how to do. And we can only be taught those things from somebody who's already done it. So even as we talk about what you have to offer, you might think that something that you learned, something that you can do might be insignificant. But it might be something as simple as being a good speaker. I remember last year, there were a couple of people who started out who were doing some Zooms and stuff. And I had a number of people asking me to MC their Zooms, to start their Zooms. They like my personality. They like how I get people talking and stuff like that. To the point where I could even do my own Zooms because people wanted me to do theirs. And now in the face-to-face world, I would normally in MC shows. People ask me to come and be the MC and so on for shows. But then I realized, well, hey, this is another opportunity here on Zoom to be a moderator of different programs and shows and stuff. So don't think that, I think we've been conditioned by schools. We've been conditioned to think maybe only of that degree, that certificate, and so on. But I think Bernard said it just now. Even when he talked about the degree, there are many people who have degrees, who have certificates, and they don't know how to use them. They don't know how to create employment for themselves. They don't know how to leverage or to exploit these certificates that they have. So even if you feel, well, look, you know what, I have not completed my education, I have not done this, I have not done that. That's not what we're talking about today. We are talking about your basic skills, the simple skills. I want to tell you all something. I discovered I'm in a global women's group, entrepreneurial group, huh? And I saw a lady. This is what a lady did. A lady took a template. Now I teach graphics, so I know what is involved in this thing. A lady took a template that you would design, let's say, to make a journal, right? The lady took a template, designed it, and then put it up for sale, $27 to sell to other people who want to make journals. So she takes you through the steps. She's used an app that she didn't even have to do from scratch. Customize it herself. And then package that as a business where she now sells for people who want to make journals. She teaches you online, $27 per person. I watched that process and I saw over 500 people. She knew what she had to offer, and she just asked, okay, I'm offering the way, all the ways, the steps, strategies, and so on involved in making journals. I want to know who wants to do this. It's a way of making money and whatever. Who wants in, right? And she worded her offer and so on. And I saw over 500 people say yes. Me. Now, when I followed the link, right, and I went to this thing, and I saw, this is something that I do. I teach people, I do graphics, whatever. But I said, wait, you mean to tell me she's taking this app, she's customized it, and she's selling it to other people for $27? Now, she has recorded the steps, so she doesn't even have to be physically there. As long as you sign up and you purchase, it's like she taking a course and packaging it. But you're not even really doing the course, because she has all the pages there. So you can decide what type of journal you want to create, right? And then customize your own, and then turn around and sell it to people. And I thought, I was like, can you imagine doing something like that for a living? So you might be in a season where, okay, you're not physically able, you might have pains, or you might be older and whatever, but that's how she's earning money. And I thought, this is absolutely phenomenal. So these are the kinds of things that I want to make you aware of, because the awareness is what makes a difference. The awareness makes a difference. So when I ask, what do you have to offer? Whatever it is, it might be your ability to interact with people. It might be your ability to influence people. People might just like being around you, being with you. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. What do you have to offer? And it's important that you answer this, because what I want to help us to do this evening is to become very organized. So it's important that we spend a little time on this question, because when you come to the marketplace, whatever it is you want to sell, you have to know that this is what I want to sell. This is what I'm selling. This is what I'm offering the marketplace. And you have to organize it in such a way that the marketplace knows who they are. The marketplace must know that they are supposed to be attracted to you. And they will only know that based on what you offer. What are you offering? What do you have to offer? So if I can say, let me try to do mine to give you an idea. What do I have to offer? I have had many experiences, many good experiences and some not so good experiences. I wouldn't call them bad experiences because I don't think that any experience in my life was a bad experience. If I had to do it all over again, I would want to do it all over again because the for me the treasure is in the lessons. The treasure is in the things that I learned from the experiences I've had. When I think about not having those experiences and who I would be without them, I think I would be a very poor person if I didn't have those same experiences. So check it. I've had the experience where in my book I want to call it the inside outside child. I was born to a mother who already had 3 other children. My mother didn't want any more children, but my father wanted a child. He didn't have any children. So from my mother's end, I felt as though I was treated like the outside child. But from my father's end, I felt as though I was the inside child, right? That experience of growing up in, I don't want to use the term broken, but we would know it to be a broken family, or to have a family where there are 2 different tribes of children from 2 different fathers. Having that experience, I learned many things about relationships. I learned a lot of the challenges that would arise in families when children are coming from 2 different groups of parents. I learned a lot of the challenges that would arise when there are 2 people coming together in a relationship that don't know how to communicate to the 2 sets of children, how to blend them. For example, just today I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she was telling me of a scenario where there's a mother who has different children. They're different children from different fathers. And my daughter was saying to me that what happens is that there's a daughter whose father supports her. So the mother takes the money from the child who the father gives the support for, and she only supports that child. The other child whose father isn't supporting her and so on isn't treated the same way and doesn't get the same thing. So for example, let's say both children had a cut, plaster and cream and stuff will be bought for the child who, the father is giving money, so those things will be bought for that child. But the other child who that father isn't their father, that child wouldn't, the same thing wouldn't be bought for that child, and it would not be used on that child. So when I say to you, I have certain experiences coming from that. Most people will probably classify it as a bad experience. I understand the purpose of the experience, because as a relationship coach, as somebody who God has called, this isn't something I sat down and said I want to do. This isn't something that I thought I was good enough to do, because a lot of my life I felt like, my life was so broken. I was struggling. I was moving from here to there, and that's how I felt. But coming to maturity in Christ, I recognized that God wanted me to learn certain things so that I can help other people who might not have the awareness to really unpack and understand the pitfalls to avoid, or if they're already there, okay, this is how you can fix this and so on. So that's one. I have also had the experience of being sexually abused. Now, again, you might say it's a bad experience. For me, it is that experience that allows me to help many women. When I have to do marriage counseling and I have to work with women, when a man comes to me and says, listen, I don't get enough sex, like I had a gentleman who came to me a couple of weeks ago, and he said, listen, I haven't had sex for over a year with my wife. Right? And he says to me, I love my wife. Right? Now, when I have to have that conversation, I have that dialogue, right? because of my experiences, I just need to hear certain things. When I talk to that woman and I listen to that woman, there's certain things that she would say that I can automatically connect to, and I know, okay, this is why you're unable to have sex. For example, I had another client who said she wanted to leave her husband. They were struggling terribly and so on. And after listening to her thing, I said, were you abused as a child? Were you sexually abused as a child? She looked at me and she wanted to say no answer. Were you abused as a child? And she stopped, she think. And then she went into the story about how she was raped. And her mother sent her to the shop for something as a little girl. And the shopkeeper raped her. She ran back home without the item. And the mother started quarreling with her for not having what she sent her for. And while the mother was quarreling, so she didn't get an opportunity to tell her mother anything. While the